Now that you know your way around the mailing list a little bit better, I'll show you some of the details on how you're actually going to use this mailing list. First, let's import some subscribers. First, we'll need to tell GreenArrow a little bit about the import that we're doing. By default, it's going to set the status of any imported address to active. If you're bringing in an unsubscribed or maybe a bounced list or just a list that you want to have deactivated, you can do so by changing the status here. If you have any autoresponders on the list that you'd like to run, you can change this to yes. It's important to note that the autoresponders will only run if the autoresponder is also configured to run on imports. Next, we need to tell GreenArrow Studio what to do in case there's subscribers already in the database that are also in the import file. By default, we're going to update the subscribers that are in the database with the information that's coming in on the import file. We're going to update the custom fields, and we'll run any autoresponders for those updated subscribers. And we'll do it just for the active subscribers. Of course, you can change the behavior of any of these if you'd like to on your import. Next, we need to tell Studio about the file that we're importing. You can change the field separator or the enclosure that you're using or the character set, whatever attributes your import file might have. You'll just want to make sure that they match what we have here. Next, you'll need to either upload a file, choose one that's been pre-uploaded, or download a file from a URL. Every login to GreenArrow Studio is also an FTP account, so you can connect to your GreenArrow server via FTP and upload your import file that way. Next, we have to link up the fields in the import file with the fields in GreenArrow Studio. If we had any custom fields in Studio or any custom fields in the import file, we would need to go through and make sure that they match to the proper field. In this case, it's just the email address, and Studio was able to figure out which field in our import file was the email address by the header. We can start this import now, or we can schedule it for a time in the future. GreenArrow Studio understands times in more than just the date and time. For example, you can say next Monday, and it knows that's May 30th at 12 p.m. If you'd like to change the time, you can say at 5. And it thinks we want 5 p.m., so we're going to change that to a.m. GreenArrow understands a lot, but it can't understand everything. So you want to make sure that you always check the date and time that GreenArrow thinks you mean after you've entered your data. You can see this took us straight to the jobs page. This page shows you all of the activity that's running in the background. As you can see, it automatically refreshes and the import is already done. If that were to continue to run, we could navigate around through the rest of the system and check on the status of those imports or other active jobs. We'll go back to the mailing list. Now that we have some subscribers, let's create some custom fields for those. A custom field allows you to attach additional data to those subscriber records. Commonly, these are things like first name, last name, or birthday, or the website where they signed up. Whatever the additional data might be, you just want to make sure that the custom field that you create matches the type of data that you're bringing in. For example, a first name is going to be a text field. If you bring in their birthday, that'll be the day of the year. If you're bringing in their zip code, that would probably be a number. It's important to have the right type of field for the data that you're bringing in because this will impact the segmentation later on. For example, when you're searching in a text field, you'll use search terms like contains, is, or is not. For a number, it'll be greater than, less than, or equal to. For dates, it's things like before or after or between. So just make sure you create the custom field based on the type of data that you're bringing in. For each different type of custom field, we have some additional parameters that you can set. For example, each type of custom field will allow you to add instructions. These instructions will show up on any web forms that you create so that you can tell your subscribers what you're expecting them to enter here. You can add a value that will be inserted for new subscribers by default if one is not present. You can add some validation for minimum and maximum length. Or you can add a value for campaigns and autoresponders for things like the seed list or previews, which aren't actually subscribers, so they don't have subscriber data to fill in the custom fields. Next, we'll take a look at the forms. If you'd like to be able to send a confirmation email or a thank you email, we'll first need to set the delivery settings. These are just like the main settings that we created on the mailing list. Now that we have the delivery settings established, we can create a form. Creating a web form is a great way to get subscribers onto your mailing list. This allows Studio to manage the entire opt-in process, which will simplify things for you. You'll give it a title. This will show up at the top of the form. And a description. You can optionally enable or disable the confirmation or thank you email after the subscription. Down below, you can see where we can customize that. Throughout the rest of these options, you'll see you have the option to customize as little or as much as you'd like. You can use our content and look and feel for the form, or you can add your own CSS. You can add or remove form fields if you want them to be able to enter their own custom fields. For the confirmation page, you can use our generic layout and content. You can use our layout with your content. You can customize all the content for yourself, or you can just redirect them to a different web page. Likewise, for the confirmation email, you can use ours, you can use our layout, or you can customize it fully for yourself. Same way for the thank you page and the thank you email. You can look at the subscription form by clicking the spyglass and going to that URL. You're also given options to grab the HTML and add that to your website, or you can add it as an iframe. All the rest of these sections, the campaigns, segments, and autoresponders, we'll address in a later webinar video.